Good evening and welcome to a very different Red Army TV here in the Red Army radio studio. We've got a couple of guests going to be coming live on the telephone, and we're going to be chatting a bit of Boro and a bit of local football tonight as well. But in the studio, the regulation 2 metres just, Dave, is the legend that is Mr. Dave Roberts.
You can hear me now. Yeah, we are 2 metres. We've measured it, mate.
Yeah. So we have the regulation 2 metres. But look, Dave, strange times we find ourselves in.
Yeah, no football, no likelihood of it starting shortly.
Yeah, so, and do you know what? It's at the bottom of the agenda, really, isn't it, the football? It comes to the bottom. But here, we felt that here on Red Army TV and on the radio, we've got to keep out there. We've got to keep spirits high, haven't we? And we've got to keep chatting about trying to get ourselves through it. And that's why we're here, isn't it?
It is. You know, we had a long conversation. Should we do this show? Should we not do this show? And is it essential? Is it not essential? But I don't know. The argument is it's for the well-being of Boro fans and something for them to do while everybody's isolated. I mean, it's minimum staff. That's why we're pressing all the buttons ourselves.
Yeah.
We've got Luke isolated in the other part of the building pressing
That's
the
right.
buttons that everybody can see the cameras move. So we're doing our best. We've not got guests in. We've got them on the phone, though.
Yeah, we have. We've got some fantastic guests on. It's great that you linked me straight in there, Dave. That was great.
Trying, mate. Trying.
Just before we come to Caroline, I'll introduce Caroline very, very shortly. Just a little bit of Boro news. There's not a lot kicking about.
Yeah.
I put a little video on our social media page. I actually met the gaffer on Sunday. He was out running with his son. Managed to grab a quick couple of seconds with him as he was cooling down, and he said they were trying to keep things as normal as possible. Players had dietary plans written and own training forms done so they could do their own training at home and things like that.
Yeah.
So look, but the little bit of news what has come out of the club today is season tickets, the early bird's been extended.
Yeah, we were asking that question on Red Army last week and there was no answer. So it was good to see finally an answer come out, and it's going to be extended, and there's no finite date yet that's been set. It's until further notice. So I'm typical of a family on Teesside who's not renewed their season card and will not be taking early bird prices because the business that I run has dried up to zero revenue. So, we're making no money whatsoever, which means I can't pay myself a salary, which means I've got to protect every penny I've got in the bank.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I was just going to say to you, I've obviously, because I'm Boro, I read a lot of Boro stuff, I read a lot of social media. There's been a bit of indifference on social media regarding this.
Yeah.
Obviously, people come out and say this is great, the early bird price. Also, some people coming out saying, well, actually, I've realised I can't afford it now, and can I have a refund? And the club have said no.
I believe, I was speaking to someone today who said they'd been asking questions and the club had said no for a refund. And the argument is, it'd be good to get, we've got Caroline as a guest coming on from the Middlesbrough Supporters Forum. It'd be good to get her view from the forum's perspective because they do a lot of work representing the fans and liaising with the club. So that would be a good view to get.
So, Dave, thanks very much for joining us. And like I say, we've threw this together because we do think it's part. But we've got two great guests, and we're going to start. I've got to introduce her. She's a friend of the show, Caroline Walker from the Boro Supporters Forum. Caroline, are you there?
I am here.
Excellent.
Yes.
Brilliant. Do you know what? We've been worried about that, but look, the modern technology.
Beautifully. It's
Fantastic.
We're pressing all the buttons ourselves, Caroline. That's why it's going to pot.
That sounds great. Great. And I think it's fantastic that you're doing it because I think, to be honest, with being shut in the house virtually all day, I think it's just great for people to hear a bit of football chat and something just to lighten the mood a little bit. Yeah.
And look, Caroline, we totally agree. But look, firstly, Caroline, good evening. Thanks for joining us. It's absolutely fantastic to hear you. And from basically what I wanted to ask you, and I'm sure Dave's got some questions, but we've just been sort of going on about it there. The Boro Supporters Forum obviously does loads, and it has done loads for the local community, alongside the club. But what impacts had this, obviously, the current situation, what impacts had on the Supporters Forum?
Well, obviously we've had to cancel our meetings because we're not allowed to have gatherings of more than 2 people. But more importantly, and really sadly, because it's needed more than ever, we were due to have a fantastic initiative at the QPR game, which we should all be going to, Saturday, whenever.
Yeah.
We were having our food bank collection, and also a new initiative that we've got underway, which is collecting for a charity called Boots to Africa.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Dave, actually, I spoke last week to Dave regarding Boots for Africa, because I know where I can lay my hands on lots of football boots, but that's another story. And I've got 2 containers full, which we need to get our heads together, Caroline. We'll get them over to you. But look, it's great, and like I say, in this time, you only have to look on social media, and lots more people on social media. All the internet providers I've seen today have seen the internet, because obviously everyone's isolated, they're at home and working from home, Dave. Obviously the internet has gone through the roof. Everyone's on the internet and things like that. But obviously I read a lot, and it's great to see people doing good things for each other. You know, it brings out the good in people, things like this. You know, we can always talk the negative side of the coronavirus and COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, but it also brings people to the forefront, doesn't it? But you, Caroline, the Supporters Forum, you know, you have been doing, you mentioned the food banks there. Is there still a place we could drop things off? Because I'm sure, like, obviously in today, you'll need it more than ever, wouldn't you?
Absolutely they will. I think, to be perfectly honest, if somebody wants to make a donation, and I understand that obviously supermarket shelves are a little bit bare at the moment, the very best thing to do would be to actually go onto the Middlesbrough Food Bank website and donate a small amount of cash. Even £1 to buy a couple of or 4 tins of beans, I think would be greatly, greatly appreciated, because that would allow them to actually buy exactly what they want. While we've collected tons of food at our food bank initiatives, we've also collected hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I mean, people just throwing money in the buckets amazingly. And like I say, that's so valuable, because then as things are running out, they can actually know what they want and buy it. So when we're not collecting, and obviously people can't go to the club shop and put anything in their collection point either at the moment.
Yeah, and I think over the course of the last 2 seasons, while we've been doing this on the forum, Caroline, a couple of £1,000s been raised now, hasn't it, in pure cash?
Just in pure cash alone. Yeah, and I just know how grateful they are for that.
You know, hats off to Boro fans for that, but it's also away fans and visiting fans. We've had visiting fans turn up who get the message that there's a food bank collection, and they'll bring a few tins, or they'll pop some money into the collection bucket. So it's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure this is going on all over the country, Dave and Caroline, because, like I say, one thing with Boro fans, that, you know, they do look after their own, they help each other when they can. You know, and like Caroline said, if it's a tin of beans, you know, if you can help, they will help, won't they? And I'm sure your Boots to Africa, Caroline, just before we've got to go for the break for Teesside TV, but the Boots for Africa scheme, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. It's a charity set up by a chap called Ian Finch, and basically it does what it says on the tin, only a lot wider. So he collects boots, he collects any form of football kit, trainers, netball kit, cricket, any sports gear basically, and he takes trips over to Africa to donate it, because where the children are just playing out in bare feet, it just does so much good. And we'd already had so much great take-up. I know the Cleveland Police footballing unit had instigated a great collection, and lots of other people, grassroots football. So I really hope that once we're back up and running with the football, we can see Ian up at the Riverside, because I just know how many pairs of boots people have got in garages, how many old football shirts, T-shirts. So that's another fantastic initiative as well.
Yeah. Mark's got a fetish of collecting them and putting them in porta cabins.
Yeah, well, as you know, Caroline, I look after a junior club, and obviously not in a very affluent area. And basically what I do is I've been obviously collecting hordes of football boots to pass on to young children who maybe can't afford new boots every other season. So we have loads, and what I'm going to do, I'll put my head together with Dave, and we'll get them moved around. But I'm sure we're going to be chatting to our next guest after the break from Grassroots Football as well, which I'm sure they'll support the initiative as well. Just before you go, Caroline, on a personal note, obviously no football. Do we think, look, you can read right across the internet, how do we think this season's going to finish? Are they going to pull the plug? Are they going to play right through the summer? What do you think is going to happen?
My instinct is they will do everything they possibly can to finish the season I wonder, is that the right thing? I may be in the minority, but I wonder, probably because we're at the bottom three at the moment, I wonder if we should just draw a line under the season now.
Yes, great idea.
It would be devastating for Leeds and
I
West
second
Brom.
that.
Devastating for them. But, from a personal point of view, I think Middlesbrough would start a new season stronger, better, much more prepared, and I don't think we'd have the struggle we're having. So I wouldn't be gutted if the season's finished now and we got ready to prepare for next season.
Brilliant.
But I'm not sure that'll happen.
Excellent. Caroline, thank you very much for joining us. Keep up the good work with the Boro Fans Forum. Join us after the break for our second guest on Red Army TV. Hi there, welcome back to this edition of Red Army TV here at the Red Army Radio Studios. Got the fantastic Mr. Dave Roberts in with us. Yeah. Our 2 meters we've got to be apart. We're having a chat all things, well, I was going to say all things Boro, but there's not much all things Boro.
There isn't.
But look, it is a strange time, Dave, and obviously it's a strange time for everyone. We're going to have a chat with our next guest very shortly, but strange times for sport right across the board, isn't it?
It is. It looks like the Olympics have gone as well, which is only right. My next job is supposed to be in Japan, and it's in May, so it was ahead of the Olympics. So if the Olympics has gone, it looks like I'm not working for the next 6 months, certainly. So I think it's the right decision. You've got to think about the safety of the public, of fans, of athletes, all that kind of stuff. And our next guest, I'm sure, is right at the thick of that at the moment, because we're talking grassroots football, and we've seen grassroots, just like the professional game, get called a halt to. So, it's impacting all levels of the game.
Certainly will. Just before we go to, obviously, we'll go to social media. The guys have been getting in touch on social media. Obviously, we're on the old Facebook Live as well as Teesside TV. A couple of things were coming. Loads of messages supporting. Keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Yeah,
We're trying. It's a bit of light relief and things like that. Yeah, we are trying. Let's have a look. Matthew Proudman's been on. He was out doing his run today. He's won a loud bit of fitness, as the Prime Minister said. He was out running today and said Ashley Fletcher was training on the beach, Redcar Beach, this morning. So good. Peter Grasson's been on. Do you think Jonathan Woodgate will get this month's Manager of the Month? Just joking. Everything obviously being serious. That he's trying
at least we haven't lost this month.
Yeah, at least he's. Mark Harrison's been on early. Little bit of dig at the early bird. Early bird, laugh out loud. They still owe me 4 matches.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
sure we'll see the season.
We are, right. And Scott Watson's been on. Mark and Dave, how are you, lads? Key working. Show's great. He's been working hard. Look, Scott was on. He works in retail and obviously stocking the shelves and things like that. So, hats off to them guys. But look, we've got our second guest tonight, Dave. Fantastic guest. We've got the Chief Executive of the North Riding County FA. Mr. Stephen Wade. Now, modern technology.
Yeah, we hope it works.
Stephen,
we've had a few problems tonight.
Are you there?
I'm here, guys, yeah.
Good evening,
You
Stephen.
don't know how much of a relief it is to hear your voice, Stephen.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us, mate. It really is appreciated. And look, Dave alluded to it right after the break there. Not only, obviously, the Premiership, EFL football, obviously, all being suspended. But obviously, grassroots football, local football as well. Can you just give us a bit of clarity, Stephen, regarding local football at the moment?
Yeah, so obviously it was last Monday when the FA made an announcement that all of grassroots football was to be postponed indefinitely at this stage. So that's the point that we're at. So that was Monday last week, which has obviously meant a complete shutdown in local grassroots football.
Yeah. So, obviously, that's right across the board. Because when people say grassroots football, they just automatically think juniors and kids, don't they? But it's not, is it? It's Northern League, it's Sunday League, it's Saturday League, it's all the leagues right across the board, all closed down, just like the professional game.
It is, yeah. Basically, at this moment in time, there shouldn't be anyone kicking a ball in this country from the Premier League level down to your Sunday morning teams, to your under-7 mini soccer game. In the Teesside Junior Football Alliance, there's a complete shutdown of football across the country, and that applies across the board.
Yeah.
And is that there was something Mark was telling me last week? Somebody posted on one of the local football sites, social media sites. Now games are off. Anybody fancy a friendly? It's everything, isn't it, Stephen? That's my understanding. It's everything.
It's absolutely everything, Dave. Yeah, so that's training, that's friendly matches, and obviously, all the leagues have shut down, so there's no competitive football as such at the moment. But yeah, sure. After the announcement that the FA made last Monday, we did have contact at the county FA from a few people just wanting clarification on can we still train, can we play friendly. So the position we took straight away at North Riding FA was that in terms of friendly matches, every club, if they want to play in a friendly, should seek the sanction of the county FA anyway. So we took the decision last week following the FA's announcement that we wouldn't be sanctioning any friendly matches in this current period where football is postponed. With regards to training, again, we've had, as you can imagine, we've had a number of coaches and clubs contacting us regarding training. Again, certainly the clubs that fall under the county FA insurance scheme that we provide for public liability and personal accident insurance, the instruction from the county FA is that you should not be playing football. That includes training, friendlies and matches, as I've said. If you are training in this period and something happens, then your insurance, we've had confirmation from the guys that we deal with at Sports Card that your insurance would be void. So obviously you're putting players at risk if you are continuing to train.
No, Stephen, it's great because, I'm heavily involved in junior football, but it's great for the clarity, to be honest. And I do think, look, in junior football, and I suppose right across the board, but certainly in junior football, you have a lot of parents and you have, all trying to get the same answer. They won't wait for clubs, they won't wait for secretaries, they won't wait for leagues. And the clarity you've brought today is absolutely fantastic. But just some bits and bobs, to do with the junior game. Obviously, majority of clubs, and obviously, as you know, I'm involved in a club, but the majority of clubs have now, obviously, along the lines of suspended all, obviously taken, so in these times we find ourselves in, people obviously not working and isolated. So the clubs have now obviously suspended taking subscriptions from parents because obviously they're not providing a service. And but is the county and are yourself fearful that we may lose clubs, through something like this?
Yeah, look, it's a difficult time, isn't it? Obviously, if we've got some really big clubs who own or lease facilities, and unfortunately the bills still continue to come in. So we understand that it's a very difficult time, whether you're a Mask United or a Thornaby. You've got paying spectators coming through the gate every week, and you don't have that at this moment in time, but you still have bills to pay.
Yeah.
Or similarly, some of the bigger grassroots clubs in and around Teesside. I'm thinking, the likes of Cada, who obviously have their own facilities there. Martin, they all have, facilities that they run and operate with bills to pay. So it's a very worrying time. We've put some frequently asked questions on the North Riding FA website, and I think that's the first question we've tried to answer, and it's a difficult one. We know we've had stories of parents who, because, let's be honest, people are losing jobs because of the situation that they're in. So quite rightly, trying to cut expenditure. And we've had stories of parents who are stopping their subscriptions for their son or daughter's football club, and you can completely understand that and wouldn't criticise that at all, because ultimately people need to put food on the table for their families and have mortgages to pay. But what we've sort of said is, if as a club you are able to offer the opportunity for people to delay instalments, give them payment holidays. If you've got some parents who are in a more fortunate position, are they prepared to potentially pay you a couple of months subscriptions in advance to try and compensate for those people who need the money and obviously aren't in a position to pay those at this moment in time.
Brilliant. Stephen, from everyone at Red Army TV, and certainly me and Dave, thank you very much, because we know that you haven't done any type of interview chatting about grassroots football, and to come on our show on Red Army TV and have a chat with us, it's really, really appreciated. And I'm sure, as you know, that a lot of grassroots committees and footballers, parents and the kids all watch this show and listen to the radio. So thanks very much for coming on, and it's really appreciated.
You're welcome, guys. No problem.
Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate it, mate.
Thanks for Stephen. Dave, it's sort of worrying times for our grassroots football, and I thought Stephen was absolutely fantastic there at giving the obviously the county's view.
Yeah, It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I know they've had to close their offices,
Yeah.
the same as most businesses have had to send the workers home, the staff home to work from home. So it's it's testing times for the county as well as teams and clubs like yourself.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I'm just about to sort of give our club view to all our parents at the end of this week. But look, I'm going to see him down the lines as Stephen is, because people in these times when we don't know what's coming next, people don't need to worry about.
And it's all right us talking about the Boro and talking about the Premier League and wondering what's happening with UEFA and the Champions League and all that sort of stuff. But there's far more kids and amateurs playing football than there are professionals.
Oh, without a doubt, without a shadow.
And they can pick up the boots in 2 months' time and carry on playing if there's a competition for them to play. But fitness levels, exercise, social elements from a kid's perspective, just the fitness that comes from it and the well-being that comes from playing football. It's all been knocked on the head, hasn't it?
I totally agree. I mean, from any sports, junior sport point of view, not just football, it's the discipline side as well. They're going a couple of nights a week. They're in a team-oriented game. Hey, but look, Dave, thanks very much for being involved. And look, hasn't been the normal Red Army TV as we, discuss Boro all the time. We've got nothing to talk about there. But look, as long as you want us, we'll stay doing this. Keep yourself safe. The old 2 meters and things like that. It's there for a reason. Dave, thanks very much for joining us. 2 guests were absolutely fantastic. Join us next time on Red Army TV. See ya.